Welcome to the Substack Live talking about LinkedIn interview for book writer. Let me check who's already online. Quick checkpoint on this one. Yes. Hi, everyone. So this is Gunnar. I'm talking about how to use LinkedIn as a book author. Actually, I started this about maybe 6-7 years ago. I ran a workshop for a local publisher here in Sydney who asked me to talk about the topic using LinkedIn or any social media, but particularly LinkedIn, in the view of an non-fiction book author. That was a very interesting workshop. It was long before COVID, when not every professional would post content on LinkedIn, and when particularly the self-publishing industry wasn't there yet where it is today. But today, we can publish book easily. The only tricky thing is, how can we tell it to the right audience? And that is not for everyone. So I had a couple of questions to this topic today already, and I will start with actually one of them. Some people mentioned that as a fiction author, it's not necessarily easy to publish or to talk about it on LinkedIn when that is reserved more from the professional side. I hear that. It, of course, depends on what we are doing. So when we are a professional and we have a job that is relevant to LinkedIn, where content is visible, and we write about something completely different, like poems, like novels, that has nothing to do with it, and we are also working in a company that doesn't want us to post, despite they cannot forbid that, then it's maybe not the best idea. But for so many people who are writing and publishing books, they have an audience. They have a professional audience that they carry throughout their life, that they're connected with. And most likely that place is LinkedIn. So therefore, it might be a good idea to do that. Of course, the key question is, when is the right moment for that? And it's not always so easy to grab the right one, because if you would go too early, then you might not, particularly for the first book, you might not be able to really be on time. You might say, I will write a book, but it comes too late. So you don't want to have that. So you need to be very clear when you do this. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Nira. Oh, a couple of those were, no, really nice to see you here at my third solo Subject Live, talking about how to use LinkedIn as a book writer. So I give you another example. So I'm one of those who are regularly sharing content on LinkedIn. Actually, for 362 weeks in a row, I wrote about one topic that is called social selling. That technically means the art and science of utilizing LinkedIn for the power of sharing thoughts and advancing business agendas. Sounds better than selling. Looks like Jennifer has 37-degree heat. Yeah, Sydney not. Happy Queensland. So the book that I wrote came out of an idea because I simply posted for 100 weeks in a row about the same topic back then. And I thought, that's easy. I can compile the best 100 or maybe the best 50 out of this one and put it in form of a book. But it took more than 200 episodes until this book came out. We have Connect and Act. And that was an idea that I would write about, that the book would come when it was very clear that the book is in production, or let's say the book is in preparation, that it really will happen. I didn't announce it at the time when I had the idea to write it, because how would I know about the timeline? I do not want to say, I do this and it never comes. It's tricky. In Australia, it's in my first name. A gunner is someone who says, I'm gonna do, but then never does. I prefer the last name version, habits. That means habit with an S, ongoingly doing these things. So therefore, it will be now 362 weeks of the same topic. And even I took the last name as an example to write about happy habits. So, and that is the other example. While my book that I just showed was in my main profession, working in social media software, that was not the case for happy habits. That book I published in end of July, pretty much 27th of October, 3 months ago. And that book is more of a self-help book in the area of personal development or habits, not related to my main role. I work in email marketing and CRM systems. There's not much to do with it. What I've done there, I announced it well in advance, even on LinkedIn, that the book is coming. And then I occasionally shared progress every 3 weeks on Substack, and occasionally a hint on LinkedIn. Because there's one thing what I wanted to have, and that is to grab the attention when the book will be out, that the right level of people see that it's coming and they have a chance to buy it just at the launch. And even more important, to join the launch event. And I think, Jennifer, you have done that back then. Thank you. So in order to make that happen, we need to announce that there's something coming, something is in the works. If you are posting, if you're using LinkedIn to post content for your profession, it doesn't matter if you're a coach consulted by your own, or you might be, like myself, an employee in a corporation, you of course need to ensure that you are allowed to post content. While no company can forbid that, but some do not like it. So a typical approach for a book where the topic is a little bit not the day-to-day part that we are doing, like with my happy habits, I would talk about it rather on the weekend. Let's say for Sunday or maybe Saturday morning, that would have been much, much better. And that was also the approach I took. But as soon as I've been very firm that the release date was there and I could share a link around it, I also have done that over the weekend. Because we should not forget one thing. In the age of AI, even with fake profiles and with a lot of fake content, authenticity and trust are important. And the credibility or the authority a professional can have can be very well underlined in having a book. I wrote 40 book reviews, longer reviews, and I've done interviews with 40 authors. And one of the typical questions was, what did that book help you achieve, or what type of doors would it open? And so many confirmed that, not only those which are executive coaches or spiritual healers, there were so many of them, or sales professionals, but they were also employees, and it was helpful for them as well. So that for us is an important topic. So then the key question would be, yes, we want to utilize LinkedIn because we typically have a network that we can tell them. These networks are not just buyers or customers or suppliers. First of all, they're humans. That's very important. So a message that we can have inside of a book can reach them and can mean something for them, even when it is not the typical hardcore services that we have. When would we do it? As soon as we know that a book will come, then it is good to announce and say, hey, in 4 weeks this will come out. And then see what happens. Tag maybe some people into the post, or alternative, what you can also do is not only to have a post about it, but announce it in the subject line or in the headline of LinkedIn. So as soon as my book came out, I put it right at the beginning. New book, Happy Habits, for the first 2 months. And then whatever I commented on, people would see first this and then my regular headline. So that's a good idea to make that happen. And then create the buzz beforehand. Funny example, while I launched this book, Connect and Act 2023, 2.5 years ago on my birthday, was beautiful birthday party. This year, my birthday fell on a Sunday. Nobody would attend the book launch then. So I made a decision to publish a book and launch it on next year's 4th of May, and that will be a Monday. When I posted about it, a dozen of people said that they are in. Awesome. One even said, did you book the venue? I've done that. The only thing, I have no clue what book it will be. I created a cover. I've done a nice mock-up about it, a nice story about a book idea, but that will be May. Now we have October, so maybe I can start thinking about it in January. But announce it early enough when you know you can deliver, not when you can't. So that's important, that the timing gets right. And in the time window just before the book comes out, when you have maybe a buying link, that would be good to do. But there's something else. Even before the book is perfectly edited, there's a good chance to find suitable pre-readers. Where can you find them? On LinkedIn. Somebody who should get an advanced reader copy or ARC should not necessarily be our family members or very close friends, because they don't give the critical side that you need as a feedback. So, but on LinkedIn, we can find them. Those people who might know us well enough, but not too much. Those which are part of the target audience of that book. These we will need to have. And when we get a chance to uh, send them an early version of the book and get the feedback on time, about 4 to 6 weeks, that would be so helpful for the book as such. And believe me, when they are maybe even part of the book with a little testimonial section inside of it, then they will surely also talk about it later. So that is a very important topic as well, to get pre-early readers. How did I go for this with Connect and Act? Well, this is my book that I wrote. I had a cover designer here for these beautiful images. Beside that, there are 31 others. 33 is the total number of people who contributed. One for the foreword. The book has 4 parts with 4 little interviews of 2 pages each and 4 external voices each. That makes it together 21. And then I had a couple of others who gave testimonials at the beginning. So I shared the progress of the book individually using LinkedIn direct messaging when I didn't have email addresses with those chosen or pre-requested professionals, that I can also grab part of their wisdom to it. How would I select those people? LinkedIn helps because I could find out if they have a large network by themselves. Then they can talk about the book and that spreads further. That's an important thing. So I had my list and put down all the 33 people, including their LinkedIn profile, checking what type of audience they have, and then have a good mix of this. Not only those super connectors, but they have a very good mix of those who could be part of that. That was very helpful for that book. And then when the book launch came, I announced that as a LinkedIn event. It was actually a live event in a hotel here in Sydney. It was fully ticketed. I had it on an Eventbrite booking link or whatever. And then afterwards, there were many of those who shared the experience from the launch event. Being also my birthday was actually fun. I really loved that. A lot of photos. I was a professional photographer, and I made sure that this whole content is now all published. Now it's on my website and everywhere. And I then placed all of the visuals from that on the featured section inside of my LinkedIn profile, that people can actually see that and the discussion that came out of it. As that book particular talks about social selling, using LinkedIn, networking, and so on, it was also nice to have a representative of that at the launch event. And the book had 4 parts. I had each of one of them. For each part, I had one person to share the stage with for 5 minutes of a quick interview. So, and I use LinkedIn heavily for that one so that I can find the right audience, can talk about it, and get a lot of what we call earned media. There's organic media, what we are typically posting. There's the paid media. That's what I didn't do on purpose for that. And the earned media is what we actually would like to get, which is kind of the holy grail in social media, that people talk about us, the mentions for this. And then I grabbed all of those links and put them in a big Google Doc where everything about the book is placed, that I ensure that I can track it. I screenshotted a range of comments that people did, because these comments inside of, or let's say from the reception of a book, we can utilize for so many things. Even when it comes to our own website, we have some kind of quotes and testimonials. That's very, very important. So that is the timing aspect. And then, of course, when the book came out and gratefully enough people bought it to get an Amazon bestseller status, that was very nice for that book. And also recently for Happy Habits. Then, of course, I could share a bit about that experience further. Just make sure that the content that we share is adopted to each social media network. On Facebook, Instagram, I would share differently compared to LinkedIn. And the tricky thing, we don't want to brag about ourselves. But if nobody talks about it, so then nobody sees the book. So we need to find the right balance in talking about maybe not I wrote a book, but rather how the content of the book helped someone in our network to learn something from it. I think that is the better approach to it. So that's about the timing aspect on being on LinkedIn. And of course, there's another aspect to it. When we write a book, we can also, we need readers. So when we know it, let's say you have a 6 to maybe 12 months time frame until the book comes out, that you are in your view of, or in your mind, yes, you want to write a book. You can talk to people about it. And whenever you do this, live in person or maybe on LinkedIn, it's a good idea to have this in a LinkedIn chat. If I would tell Jennifer, for example, that I'm writing a book, whatever the title will be, let me take LinkedIn for Startups, writing already for a while. And then I'm chatting about it and say, hey, Jennifer, do you want to be part of that with a testimonial at the beginning? So, and I might ask more people over a period of time. Then I can use the power of LinkedIn messaging, which is for me the most underrated search engine on the planet. Because if I go to LinkedIn messaging, instead of typing a name of a person, I type the name of a topic, like a keyword, the title of a book. And then all of those dialogues of people come up where I talked about it. So that way I can then again go and say and take a screenshot of those people. And then when as soon as the book is out, I can say, hey, we spoke about that book. Now it's there. That's a good way how to combine all of that. There's one little thing that some of us are doing. I think, Jennifer, you actually do. Nira, I think you as well, but I'm not sure. LinkedIn also has a newsletter. We can say it competes with a proper email marketing newsletter of a Substack. But the LinkedIn newsletter has one major advantage. I like it a lot. It's a discovery engine. So I have now 2,840 people or so in my LinkedIn newsletter, which is called Learn from Books. That's about my book reviews. And out of these, at least 40% of those people I don't know. I'm not connected with. But every time I post something, maybe once per month or so, every 6 weeks, another book review, then so many people receive this. That's a good idea. We can use this. It's like what you do on Substack. You post a new article and then it will be sent to them. What LinkedIn does different. A LinkedIn newsletter is a combination of email and a LinkedIn notification. Good to carefully use this as well. And then I can announce that when I normally write articles about reviewing books, I can also say, no, my own book is there. And then I know that 2,800 people receive an email about it. Even those people who normally don't get email notifications for LinkedIn, for reactions or whatever, typically the newsletters get through, and that is a very good one. So newsletter is one of these type of topics. But the key question is for those which are writing a book and then would like to have that particular book shared on, Veronica, nice to see you in as well. For those who would like to share a book and then realize, oh, my book has topic A, but I work actually in topic B, something completely different. It would be wise to change the profile in a certain way that it can coexist. So if somebody is a financial planner and they're writing a book about that, or a mortgage broker and writes their angle about their business for that, that is quite congruent with the normal LinkedIn profile, with the normal LinkedIn activities. But if someone going a little bit off track or kind of an adjacent area, like I do with my Happy Habits book, then it makes sense to have a LinkedIn profile slightly adjusted so that the main activities and the book can live together. That is not going off track. Of course, we do not want to write about something that goes completely against our regular work. And the topic is much easier for solopreneurs or for small business owners compared to corporate. But even it makes sense to make sure to go through this. And what I've done for this one is I grew up with playing Lego. Let me show something to you out of my book. So here is, hope you can see it. Here are 4 little graphics from Lego. And they explain the principle of social selling, how I use LinkedIn. I first start here. The first one is a very long one. It is about fixing the profile. You do it not all the time, but if you do it, it takes a bit of time. Do it. And then you build on that. The first topic here, that is about how to connect with people. The second one then is when you create content. And the third one, where most are weak, is how to convert that. When you've done all of these three, but so every week, so to say, then you try to find people, they find you, and then you go after the other steps. You connect with someone, and then you convert that. And every now and then, you can adjust the profile, maybe every 6 months, maybe every year at least, to ensure that it's fully congruent. But the main thing is LinkedIn, like all social media, is a kind of top of the funnel discovery model, like Substack Notes is. And then when you then share posts on LinkedIn or even long format articles in the newsletter, that is how you can then transport the content. So if you do this and have a regular type of loop on LinkedIn activities, then you can share content relevant to your regular work and for your book as well. And it will be exciting. It will be also for the algorithm good, because then imagine you announce a book launch for the first time in your life and you only normally post twice per month because it's not normally the work, then you will recognize that a lot of eyes get to that particular content because it's exciting. So that's a good, exciting thing. And that's how a lot of traffic can go thanks to the book that can be then utilized also later, because the profile will be uplifted from the algorithm point of view, that you have then more eyes to your regular content. That's good. What most people then don't do well enough, authors, they see, oh yeah, some people like it, some people comment on it, but they don't engage with that. And that is something which is not necessarily good. You need to do that. I take a lot of screenshots from LinkedIn, particularly for that purpose, that I might be able to use it afterwards. And I know some are very clever, and I think, Nera, you do this. You would then grab snippets of this and put it into a document so that then we can reuse this later. So that is a very important thing. Here, Jennifer, thank you for your comment. You just said you got 4 new subscribers to your LinkedIn newsletter after posting more often. Traction is there, and then you have people who read also what you have to say, similar as to Substack. So that's very good. So for me, this type of 4 topics: complete the profile, connect with the right level of professionals, content, and then also convert the whole thing. That is a rhythm. This rhythm needs to flow. And for this rhythm, I created some worksheets in order to make that happen. For the connecting part, what I've done over there, I created my own custom GPT called Connect GPT that helps to connect with other professionals on LinkedIn and even on Substack, and helps to write a very relevant message. So if I would write for the first time to Veronica, for example, it would then, if we were not connected yet, this Connect GPT would then find out, would read from her profile, would read from mine, and figure out if there's anything in common, and then prepare a LinkedIn connection request. I say prepare, it doesn't send. I want that the human keeps control, that not AI does everything. I'm not a fan of giving up control for that one, but we can utilize the power of a LinkedIn network when that gets larger, and we can share it. There's one example actually that is on the call, Veronica, that's you, because you combine 2 different type of flavors. On LinkedIn, you talk a lot about your public speaking, so that companies can find you with more to the B2B type of play, while then on Substack, you help more the individuals so that they can write and publish well and learn the public speaking from that side. So you play this balance extraordinarily well, and that is doesn't work with everyone yet, but really appreciate that one. So we can use LinkedIn as authors, can use it pretty well. There's one example, and I didn't pick it. One moment. One of the best that I've ever seen, sorry. And that is here. That is a gentleman called Tony Hughes. Tony Hughes published a novel in 2013 called The Joshua Principle, a beautiful sales mentorship story. And then he thought, oh, I need to get this out but how should I do it? And he talked to his coach, John Smybert. I know both in person very well. John is from Brisbane, and Tony from Sydney. And then John said, you need to post on LinkedIn. And Tony used and posted on LinkedIn, think about 2015, articles, very thoughtful articles, long time. Years later, he wanted to write a book somewhere there called Combo Prospecting. And I recognized he has done something what I haven't seen on LinkedIn. Instead of knowledgeable type of post, he had short ones, asking questions. And I had the feeling he must write a new book and is crowdsourcing feedback from his audience. He has, in the meantime, 300,000, whatever. It's not about the number, but as soon as you have a network on LinkedIn as an author, you can then, of course, go ahead and utilize the power and simply ask questions. Find out what the audience is all about. That was good. Really enjoyed that part. He just wrote and published this book, which is an AI thriller called Sentient, Meet Your Maker, that plays in the year 2027, coming shortly. And he announced that maybe 2 months prior to the launch, that happened 2 weeks ago, was really joyful to attend that launch and to get a signed book from Tony. But he was this role model where you can share ongoing that there's something that will come as soon as the date was clear, and he put that out as well. And from there, all of the other topics with his publisher and Amazon bestseller status, whatever, that can follow. But building this moment towards the launch, 10 in advance it will come. I got the early version of that book maybe 3-4 months before that. This type of ARC, advanced reader copy, but I must read it again. Now it's really looking forward to have that. These are examples that it makes sense to talk about that. So, and Tony, in that sense, while this is an AI thriller, he's normally not a fiction author. He's a sales book author. He's a sales coach. He's a mentor, but of course it helps for his personal brand. Utilize the power of LinkedIn as an author for the personal brand to show the authenticity. And also 2 side effects. Number 1, when I wrote the LinkedIn book I had, Connect and Act. On that book, I wrote every morning before work 45 minutes, which was 1 double page. It has 42 of them. And this writing before work was so helpful for my main role that I could get starting my day already having achieved something in the personal life, and then to be used for the corporate life was a very nice way to connect the dots together. So that was very helpful. And then the other thing, a book draws more readers to the profile. It also shows credibility and authority. And these are things as a human that are very relevant. I work in email marketing and CRM systems. Now I'm reviewing my second book about email marketing from another author. And of course, that is kind of helpful that my company, Active Campaign, the colleagues there will also see this as highly relevant in that area. When I now talk to marketing agencies, my target audience, they will realize that I'm in that field because I talk about books in that field and I even write about books. I write my own books. So it gives a lot of credibility that we should not forget. And LinkedIn is a place that can be quite helpful. So, Nera, you post your newsletter every week, and you said you moved from 320 to 756 participants or readers. That's very, very good. Thank you. Congratulations for this one. While I must say, Nera, that you and also Jennifer, you don't work in a corporate role, but you use LinkedIn as the place because you are a full-time writer in that sense, which I admire a lot. And Jennifer, you can also add a lot about it with your other services. So for you, that comes in place as well. And both of you help other writers as well. That's good. Same for Veronica. Actually, same for me. I like that, like being on Substack surrounded by other fellow authors. So I will write an article about how we can use LinkedIn as a writer in various aspects and post this on Substack, and keen to hear more feedback from others. Because I personally believe for nonfiction, especially, it truly makes sense. A different thing is for fiction, unless, like in Tony's book, it is kind of relevant to it. But let's see how that goes. I will have very soon another fiction book. I will relaunch mine that I have done a couple of years ago, and the new one is coming out, if I'm lucky, in early November. Should I talk about it? A fairy tale on LinkedIn? Maybe on Sunday. Why not? But otherwise, thank you everyone for watching so far. I personally believe that LinkedIn is very helpful to have the right timing, to find the right level of people, to utilize LinkedIn messaging as a way how we can get discussions about that. And then utilizing my Lego model of completing the profile, connecting well, sharing relevant content, not too much, but the right thing, and then converting this, what most don't do, would be a very helpful approach to it. And Jennifer, yet you just said Veronica would know all about Substack for book writing. That's so true. Really admire this. By the way, also, I tested the online course from Veronica about Substack and also a recent one about public speaking, and both are highly recommendable. So that was all what I wanted to share in my first completely own solo episode of Substack Live. Normally on this time, I would have a LinkedIn webinar, LinkedIn related one, which Jennifer kindly attended a couple of times now. Thank you, Jennifer. And soon I will get them back as well. But I thought for this month, I do a Substack Live. Thank you everyone for watching. And those who are rewatching it at a later stage because of time zone, I hope you have a nice day. And if any question, please type it on it. I'm here all the time. Thank you.